Okay, hi, welcome back to Fantasy Premier League. So I'm going to be reviewing game week 1 and showing you the points I got in my team, what I think of the players' performances, and who I'm most likely to be getting rid of in preparation for game week 2. So although game week 1 isn't fully over yet, most of the games have been played and it's been interesting. The likes of Palace and Southampton. I honestly thought Southampton were going to do something and Danny Ings would score, but wasn't the case this time. Liverpool Leeds, that was definitely a back and forth match, but I'm not going to jump onto the Leeds bandwagon yet, just in case their performance fizzles out over time. I don't want to rush in. The West Ham and Newcastle match was interesting. It's good to see Newcastle performing well again, but then again, it might be because of who they were facing right now. It'll be interesting to see how they perform next game week when they face Brighton, I believe. And yeah, Spurs and Everton, that was interesting. I'm slanting more towards focusing on maybe Everton players for my team because I think they've got some decent fixtures as well. So if we go on to my team now, so I managed to get 51 points. I still have Werner, who hasn't played yet, and they're facing Brighton. That'll be interesting. And I do have Cody, defender from Wolves, facing Sheffield United. So hopefully Cody can get a clean sheet at least. We'll see about that. Now, yeah, there might be the odd few people or so many that got high points. Well, good for them. You know, what did I want? A medal? Because as you know, there'll be quite a few cocky people rubbing it in, showing off. Best thing to do is just ignore them and just try and play for fun, as well as don't rush into stuff. So, you know, like with my team, look at Doherty, look at Son. They both got 2 points each. That is pretty terrible. You know, Doherty, based off from his last performance, last game he had for Wolves, you know, he was doing quite well. And now he seems to have sunk. Same with Son, but it's not worth rushing immediately, you know. Uh, Danny Ings, 2 points, another poor, you know, score. Same with Oriol in midfield, Romelu. But Oriol, I wasn't expecting much from him. I only had him on just because he was playing and he was cheap. He's just like a filler in, someone like who would go on the bench. So yeah, but I think, me personally, in terms of the key person who I'll probably be focusing on in terms of removing for the next game week is going to be between Danny Ings and maybe Son. The reason why I say that is because I did want Willian, and he is 1 million cheaper at this moment in time. So I'm not sure if it's worth doing that soon to avoid Willian's price potentially going up more, because then I won't make as much money. So that's what I'm thinking. I know Aubameyang, Salah, they do end up facing each other in the third game week, I think. Let's just double check. Yeah. So that's going to be messy considering I've got one of them as captain. They're both 12 million. You know, they're very costly and they're facing one another, and only one player gets the points in and the other one doesn't, then it's kind of wasted. And you never know, both of them might not even get points. So we'll see. Now, anyone else? McCarthy. Don't really feel much for him. You know, it's kind of a risk having at least 3 playing Southampton players, considering them losing to Palace, because if you look at the second game week, they are facing Spurs, and as you know, on my team, I've got 2 Spurs players. Anyone else? Chelsea and Liverpool. I've got 2 Liverpool players and 1 Chelsea player. So this is what I mean. I'm kind of stuck. You know, if it's not a back and forth game like Leeds and Liverpool, you know, I'm not going to get many points because I've got 2 Tottenham players versus 3 Southampton players, and I've got 2 Liverpool players versus 1 Chelsea player. basically leaving one, two, three players that are facing completely other teams. So it's kind of a problem, to be honest. It's a bit messy. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Newcastle and Brighton. You got United and Palace, and I feel that would be a good time to get the odd United player. Maybe Martial or one midfielder. I'm not going for Bruno Fernandes because although I did like having him in my team last season, gone. He was a different price then. He's now inflated, so it's more of a risk. With City, yeah, it'd be great to get De Bruyne in. Get rid of maybe Aubameyang for De Bruyne because they're both just as good. Both can get the points in, can guarantee that. But for now, though, because they're facing Wolves, it's not like it's an easy going match, so it might not be worth using that yet. So I'm probably going to be focusing on Everton. And, you got Leeds and Fulham as well. That's going to be an interesting one. You could get Bamford. I think he's the striker. But it depends how Leeds and Fulham perform. Because like how I said, yeah, although Leeds were obviously going at it in the first match against Liverpool, it doesn't mean to say they're going to perform at the same, performance as the first time around. They might have lost it. Or they could be just as hungry and fight harder. Fulham lost 2. So you could say both teams, are hungry for a win, so they might put in the extra performance. But I guess we'll see. It depends if Mitrovic plays, because obviously he didn't really play much in the first game week. So yeah. You got Chelsea and Liverpool, that's definitely a tough one. You got Leicester and Burnley, that's interesting. Arsenal and West Ham, so that's probably most likely the time to have Aubameyang as captain. Now, as you can see, I had Aubameyang as captain and he only got 14. And yet Salah ended up getting 20. And if I had him as captain, he would have got 40. If I had triple captain, he would have got 60. But there's nothing I can do about that now. It is a shame, definitely. I think the players I am comfortable with would be, at the moment at least, Robertson and Salah. I'm comfortable with Salah for once, and I'm definitely comfortable with Robertson. Now, although Robertson only got 4 points, he did get an assist, so that's reasonable. That's promising, in my opinion. Now, with Doherty, didn't, get an assist this time. I think, from what I heard from other people, he was close to scoring. So if that is true, I've not seen the highlights yet. Okay, then there's hope, and that might be a key reason to not jump in and get rid of lots of players all of a sudden. But me personally, though, it is going to be a tough game week next one, just because of the players who I've got in my team, how they're going to be facing one another. That's why it makes me question, is it worth using a 3-hit chip just for that game week, so then it's over and done with till the next half of the season? If they face one another now, get that out of the way. They're not going to face each other again until a later date. So then by then, I'll have time to use the proper wild card, or let's say use the free transfers cumulative over time. Well, they don't build up too much. I think you only get 2, 1 saved. So yeah. Werner, see how he plays. It could end up being Robertson, Aubameyang, Salah, Werner and Cody stay. And Danny Ings most definitely will go from my team, as well as Son and maybe Doherty. Saint-Maximin, there's quite a few people that got him. Was it 25% people got him, or 24%? Oh, 23%. It probably was a bit higher before. People probably transferred him out by now. Same with TAA. 54% chose him. Whereas with Robertson, only 13% or roundabout got Robertson. So yeah, it's kind of messy. You want to be going for safe players, but equally you want to be taking the odd risk. What would be a good example? Well, if we look at the first game week and we look at Newcastle, look, you've got Hendrick, a new signing, so new hope. He's 5 million. He's cheap. He got 14 points. That's really good. Yeah. But is he capable of doing that a second time round or close? Now, me personally, I think he's got more of a chance than Saint Maximin. For me, in my opinion, at least, Maximin only got 3 points, and Hendrick managed to get 14. And although they might have been facing West Ham, which may not be the best of teams right now, they're facing Brighton next. So what I'm going to base it off is if Chelsea manage to beat Brighton, that might slightly damage the momentum of Brighton, which may lead to Newcastle, who came off from a win, maybe going in stronger the second time round. There's more momentum behind them. We've got more energy. The morale is higher. Could be complete bullshit what I'm saying, because I'm no expert, but I'm just trying to base it off something. You can't rush all the boosters, the wild card, but equally you don't want to leave it too late in the season, because you do get given another wild card a bit later on. So it's probably best and actually that free hit, I don't know when's the best time to use it, because my team and me personally is conflicted because they're facing one another. I'm not going to get many points from the looks of it next game week. So would it make sense to use the free hit, get rid of maybe the Southampton players and one Tottenham player, and then replace Danny Ings with Martial, and get rid of Son for Willian, and get rid of Oriel Romelu for someone else? I'm not too sure. Let me go on transfers. What is the cheapest midfielder right now? 4.5, so yeah, not great. There was like a 4 mil one, then I would, because then I'd be able to change one of the defenders. So if we look there, 4.5 million players in the midfield role, they haven't really got many points, so it's no surprise, obviously, but there's no real cheap ones to go after. So I'm probably just better off sticking with Oriol, unless I went for Mendy, just because he got an extra point, and he plays for Leicester, which is probably a slightly better team, my opinion. Or El Neni. But if we go to 5 million, obviously the points jump. Look at the difference between that. Now I know where certain teams facing one another, but look at El Nene. How many minutes did he play? 90 minutes. So he played 90 minutes. He only got 3 points, and they were facing Fulham. And then you look at Newcastle, who are facing West Ham. So, they're both facing maybe weaker teams, you could argue, and yet Hendrick managed to get more. Don't mean to say he's going to perform the same the next game week, but, I feel like Hendrick is probably a better choice than Saint Maximin, considering he's 0.5 million cheaper and he got more points in, so he could be more reliable, potentially. So there's that to take into consideration. So I might end up getting rid of Saint Maximin for Hendrick, or I'll end up getting rid of Danny Ings for Calvert-Lewin. I think for points, though, and based off who they're facing one another, you've got Southampton, who've lost against Palace. The next are facing Tottenham, so that's going to be rough. And even Newcastle facing Brighton, which is going to be tough. But then you look at Everton, you look at their fixtures. So Everton are facing West Brom. That's actually a really nice matchup. Then they're facing Palace, which is a pretty nice matchup. Then they're facing Brighton, pretty nice matchup. Yeah, Liverpool, bit rough, but they could still give it their all and do something. Then they're facing Southampton. Then they're facing Newcastle, bit United. Then the Fulham. So yeah, this is what I mean. And then Leeds, they've actually got pretty good fixtures for most part of it, or at least short term, I guess you could say. You got Richarlison, you got Calvert-Lewin. They're both played, so you don't have to really worry about that. Maybe the favourite is Calvert-Lewin, just simply because he's cheaper. He's 1 million cheaper than Richarlison. And based off Richarlison and how he missed that shot, it's not great, is it? But, he might bounce back. But I think it's best going for a different striker, so I can maximise the points. And, the price of Danny Ings, 8.5 mil, is just too expensive for me, in my opinion. Now, I know Jimenez is the same price, but I think Jimenez could still, have the form from last season, and with the fixtures they've got, it's not too bad. You discount City, they've got some alright fixtures. So, on the bench, they're just meaningless, nothing special there. I can't really get any cheaper than that. I mean, I think some previous fantasy football seasons you could get the odd one or two players for 3.9 million, and that's even better. Save as much money as possible. Now, McCarthy in goal. So I was originally going to have Schmeichel, but for cost and money reasons, I couldn't afford, so that's why I had to go for McCarthy. But, McCarthy playing for Southampton, yet another Southampton player. Not great having three of them, especially the form isn't great. So the next best thing I could do, probably not this game week, maybe another one, is get Ryan from Brighton, I think he's from. We'll just have to see how he does against Chelsea. Even if he doesn't do great, I'll probably still get him because he's the same price. And, I don't know, I've got a bit more faith in him. But, it can all change. This is only the first game week. You got to think it this way. You can't rush into stuff, but equally you can't hold back too long because then you end up getting left behind, you could argue. So I think that sums it up. I'm not going to do another update video. What I'll probably do is when I make the next transfer or next key decision before the next game week, I'll show the last remaining points I got based from the last two players that need to play my team. I haven't played any boosters yet. I don't think I'll use any for the second game week. I'll hold off from that. So it's been interesting so far. Hopefully can remain consistent this time round and not rush into stuff, which I did last season, and that was a big mistake early on. So hopefully other people did well, did reasonable, having fun with the season. We'll see what happens next. That's me done for now. Goodbye.